HomaJam, thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I'm really excited about the partnership between Sorare and Alma Games and seeing all the exciting and crazy game concepts and game creations we're gonna review together. But anyway, I wanted to start with a brief video that really sets the tone for this partnership, which I find it very emotional. I just want to leave the action here for a second.
Born in European football, he's the top scorer, an unexpected hero. I've never seen play like this. Best player in the world.
The young kids, you would like to have everything from football and you want to know everything about football, that you collect your whole album with all the players and all the pictures of the players.
En el descanso en la escuela se intercambio de figurinas, tener el cromo del Zico era como la gloria, era il massimo.
Che ricordo tantissimo perché si giocava a terra, prendevi queste figurine, le piegavi un po', diciamo la mano così, dovevi ribaltarle.
Intentaba primero tener, eran los del Real Madrid, ¿no? Me acuerdo que en la época había uno que era muy difícil, que era el de Prosinecki.
If you never got your favourite player, you'd go back and get more and get more and get more. I had an older brother and he used to have a lot of the cards around the house and I used to always try and take them.
I remember I was collecting cards. I put on my bed, it was a couple posters to Blokhin, Zavarov, Mikhailichenko, and then of course Diego Maradona.
La cosa più grande della mia vita.
Im Leben und jetzt noch Fußballer des Jahres.
Toen die tijd deden we totaalvoetbal.
Ou collectionner des moments importants de la vie de certains footballeurs. On doit vivre avec son temps et vivre avec les outils des jeunes d'aujourd'hui.
Esta versión nueva, digital, es algo muy lindo para los apasionados del fútbol. Disfrutando desde otro lugar lo que es la pasión por este deporte. Eso hace feliz a la gente.
And could this be the start of a new era? This season deserves a Ballon d'Or. Yes, we can. That's an impressive win. Mission to make history.
So obviously, I wanted to start with the fact that this is exceptional content, and I'm very very happy with how this went. But I just mostly wanted to share the fact that this is basically something that we've actually seen all our lives. People have been collecting goods for centuries and even for millenaries, and we've always loved to collect goods, especially sports cards in the past century. And we've collected art, stamps, cars, and in Shevchenko's case here in the video, Maradona cards when he was a kid. And so it's no surprise that actually we are collecting $370 billion worth of collectibles per year in the world. And, the reality is that these collectibles are not just physical collectibles, but also digital collectibles. And obviously the digital collectible market is set to grow actually to 190 billion by the end of 2025. And a big part of that market is actually digital collectibles in the gaming industry. However, there was a problem. We could not truly collect digital goods until this new technology arrived. And, why we couldn't collect digital goods is because there was no such concept as digital scarcity. And to collect, we actually need scarcity, because without scarcity, there's no true collection. And so the technology that allowed scarcity for the first time ever on the internet is actually blockchain technology. And with the creation of Bitcoin back in 2009, early 2009. And so before Bitcoin, and even still today, when I send you a photo, what I do is I send you a digital copy of that photo. You have the photo, but I still have that original photo and it's the same photo. However, when I send you a Bitcoin or an Ether from the Ether cryptocurrency, I send you that Bitcoin or that Ether. I don't have it anymore, and you have it, and everything is written on a shared ledger, a shared server where all transactions are transparent. And basically, Bitcoin was the first time we ever created digital property. And what we see is that Bitcoin is a fungible asset. So what is a fungible asset in a very kind of dictionary way? It's an asset that's capable of mutual substitution, that's interchangeable. We can find fungible assets around us, usually in our pockets, because money, such as a banknote, a dollar, or a euro, is a fungible asset. If I give you a euro coin and you give me a euro coin, we'll have the same euro coin. It's going to be very fungible. It's going to have the same use as a means of payment. Obviously, it might be a bit different what's on the coin, so it's not perfectly fungible, but it's interchangeable. Same thing for a dollar. What's a non-fungible asset is a unique asset that's not capable of mutual substitution, so meaning it's not interchangeable. And coming back at the core of all this, NFTs are non-fungible assets, but non-fungible tokens. And the reality is that what are non-fungible tokens? They are tokens, and to that token we can associate any non-fungible asset. And when we think about non-fungible assets in the world, we can think about tickets to a concert, a collectible, access to an experience or a club, or a class. So there's so many different types of non-fungible assets in the world. There's actually much more non-fungible assets than there are fungible assets. And basically, NFTs have unlocked the tokenization and the digital property of all these non-fungible assets within our digital world. And again, they can represent anything. And what we've talked mostly today in the NFT world back in 2021 and the start of 2022 is NFTs used in the world of art. And I'll go and explain why NFTs are interesting in the art world, because basically they have provenance, and provenance is important when you think of art. So let me give you this example. On the left, we have a Rembrandt. This painting was stolen in 1990 in a Boston museum, and we've never been able to find it ever again. And this is one of the best paintings from the 17th century, the most well known, and we've never been able to find that Rembrandt again. Imagine if we find that painting again this year. The question here is, how do we make sure we know it's authentic? How do we know who owned it? And the reality is that it's easier and easier these days to create fake paintings. And we do have, obviously, third-party experts that can come and verify the origin and nature of the painting and try and validate the fact that this is the original painting. But we'll never be 100% sure. It's even truer in most contemporary art, where the proof of validity is harder to ascertain. Whereas on the right hand side here, you have like a CryptoPunk, and this NFT that was created in 2018, we know exactly who owns it today, and we know exactly who owned it in the past, because again, all these transactions are written on the blockchain. So NFTs provide provenance. And you can think about NFTs in the gaming sense. If you buy an item from one of the most known gamer from that game, or an item from Jay-Z in the gaming world, well, this item will probably have more value to you than if you bought an item from someone you didn't know at all. And so that provenance is kind of cool to know who owned it when, for how long, because it creates emotional attachment, emotional value for you as a collector or as a gamer. But actually, NFTs, obviously, we can use NFTs not only in the art world, but you can also use NFTs in the gaming world. And, in this example, more than anyone else that NFTs is gaming items are a big business. And this example here is the NFT of Farmer Steel skin. Not the NFT, it's the Farmer Steel skin that you can buy for $10 a fortnight. The problem here is that this costume, you can't resell it anywhere else than in Fortnite, because you don't really own it, because this is actually a digital copy of the license of this costume. So when you buy this costume in Fortnite, you actually don't really own it, but you own a digital copy. If this asset was on a public blockchain, you could, keep it, gift it, trade it, do whatever you want with it, really. And that's the main difference between owning a gaming item that is not an NFT in a game where it's centralized, and owning a gaming item that is an NFT, whereby you do have a lot more ownership and freedom to do whatever you want with it. And again, NFT changes the gaming world from that perspective. Another cool feature from NFTs is the fact that NFTs as gaming items are interoperable. So in this case, we have, a FIFA foot icon of Jara PK. This foot icon can only be bought and sold on FIFA. And the reality is that, FIFA does $1.6 billion worth of sales of foot icons every year. And when you buy this during the year, at the end of the year, your foot icons disappear. So it's kind of crazy for anyone building any natively NFT game that in this gaming world, Web 2 world, you don't really own your items, and your items disappear. But in the case of Sorare, actually, when you buy a PK card, for instance, well, you truly own this item, and you can actually use this item in other games. In Sorare's case, we have about 10 games that are built on top of Sorare cards, such as Sorare Mega, Sorare Data, Sorare Brag, Captain Sorare, and all these games, you can actually use your Sorare card, and you could also sell these Sorare cards outside of Sorare on OpenSea, on Coinbase NFT, on Binance NFT, just because these cards are NFTs, and they are built on the ERC 721 token standard, meaning you can use them wherever you want and trade them wherever you want, which is not the case of EA's icon. But I think where I'm going with this is that, again, gaming is a big business, and it's pretty clear in this slide that the gaming industry is massive. And in terms of revenue, it's actually more than the music and the video industry combined. And within this $165 billion revenue in the gaming market, we estimate that about 100 billion are for in-game items, so not consoles, purely just in-game items. And when you think about why do people collect in the gaming world, why do people collect online? Why would they collect online? Well, it's basically because of identity. If I collect a Picasso and I show it to you in my living room, it's not just to consume that Picasso, it's actually to show it to you because I want to show you that I'm a fan of Picasso. And in the online world, this is also true. If I collect a Diego Maradona card, it's also just to show you that I'm a Diego Maradona fan. And I think what's interesting here is that we see that a lot of gamers are spending a lot of money on virtual items and gaming items, but they don't truly own these items. They actually spend 100 billion, but they don't truly own these items. And NFTs can help change the game for gamers, in the sense that they'll truly own their items, and be able to sell them elsewhere and use them elsewhere. And that will change the relationship and the engagement that they have with the gaming studios, whereby instead of being purely consumers, they feel like stakeholders. And this is for the benefit of both gaming studios and gamers who feel that connection a lot more. And coming back to all of this, well, that's our core thesis at Sorare, is that we'll have gaming studios that'll go from game-centric items to actually item-centric games. What that means is that we as a gaming studio are building around the cards, and our idea is to build as many possible experiences, as many possible games around Sorare, so that users can benefit from as many possibilities with their cards. And the idea of building multiple experiences for Sorare users is actually beneficial for the users, for the owners of these cards, but also beneficial for other gaming studios because if you build a game on Sorare, you actually benefit already from a pool of over 1 million users right now, meaning that if you build something compelling, well, then you could actually have about 1 million people start playing your game, which I find very exciting. And this is the difference between Web 2 gaming studios and Web 3 gaming studios, where Web 3 gaming studios are immediately open and sharing their items for more gaming studios to build on top. So as I said in my earlier slide, we actually have dozens of live apps inside games, including Sorare Buzz, Sorare Data, Sorare Mega, and more, and OneShot League, which was a project built by Ubisoft. And our vision has always been to build an amazing fantasy football game, because we believe the fantasy football game industry could actually be a lot more interesting for football fans, and in this case I mean soccer fans. If I'm a fan of the Belgian Pro League and the La Liga, I don't have a fantasy game that answers to both these fandoms. And the reality of soccer fans today is that you're not just only a fan of one league, but you're a fan of multiple leagues or multiple clubs. And we're building a global fantasy football game that is available to the typical fan today who's not just following one club or one league. And then the vision is really to build a platform for football games whereby there'll be multiple games on top of Sorare cards that you guys are working on. So we are very excited about that. And then finally, our core I would say expertise is fantasy and NFTs. And so how do we build an exciting game experience around fantasy and NFTs, not only just for soccer, but also for other sports going forward? And it could be tennis, Formula One, NFL, NBA, MLB, you name it. We'll have more to announce in 2022 on this. But yeah, and coming back to the actual webinar and to our partnership, we are very excited about the ideas that you'll come up with around legend cards and retired players, because we're starting from scratch whereby these cards don't have a fantasy component. And so how much utility can we give these cards even if they won't have a fantasy component? What can we imagine together? And how can people that own these legends because they've built a meaningful connection with these legends in their past as fans. We have Ukrainian people collecting Andrei Shevchenko's because he's such an amazing figure for Ukrainian people. I think having them use their Andrei Shevchenko card or Javier Zanetti card will be truly exceptional, and there's a high demand from these users and gamers and Sorare managers to use these cards in the games that you will be building all along this HomaJam. So I'm very excited about this partnership with Homa Games, and I wish you the best, and we'll look forward to see all that you're building around this. Okay, thanks a million. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you are looking for any more information on Sorare, feel free to follow us at Sorare on Twitter. That's where we post most of our content, and feel free to sign up to Sorare. Obviously, looking forward to looking at everything that you're building, and we'll stay in touch for any technical community support that you might need. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.